I'd been pushing myself too hard. I needed some time to regroup. The decision had been made to craft a magic sword using a demonic dragon's dragon heart. The first priority was building the frame. Since the magic sword would be wielded by a gigant, it had to be made on a super large scale to match. The facilities on White Tower Floor 17 wouldn't do. Why struggle to make it myself? It would be better to make it outside, outsource it. On Earth, the Republic of Korea's steel-making technology was extremely advanced. Their skill in handling tower metals was also at a very high level. Mary acknowledged it too. She said they made things better than those dwarf runts. Embed a heart filled with demonic energy into the massive sword's frame, then add enchantments, alchemy, and magitech to the blade, body, and hilt, and it would be done. But there was no need to rush. Take it slow. First, go to the 85th floor and bring back a gigant. Juyak was in the penthouse. He hadn't been able to summon Geppetto because he had taken the elevator to another dimension. The world of souls must have had it rough. He couldn't even novelite, don't copy, read here, enter the White Tower. He used designated summon and told Geppetto what had happened on the first floor of the White Tower. They chatted idly for a while. Then get some rest and head back on your own. It's already thrilling. I can clearly picture all the souls jumping in shock. Is that so? Indeed. Geppetto had become a major star in the world of souls, the stories he brought back from the outside world. Thanks to that, the souls were no longer bored. How entertaining was this dimensional travel incident involving the elevator on the first floor of the White Tower? A player from a parallel universe, inheriting his legacy, taking over the first floor of the White Tower, killing a dragon, and acquiring nationality. That's right. He had become a citizen of another world, one that had already been destroyed. Is this also part of the inheritance? At first, he had simply accepted it and moved on. But when he checked his status window, Black Tower, Earth number 1001, Republic of Korea, Black Tower, Earth number 675, Germany. It had changed like that, so this was Earth number 1001. He was only finding out now. He had known about parallel universes for a while, but still. Meanwhile, Max Kruger's world was No. 675. Did they number every parallel universe? How rustic, using numbers. It might have been the simplest naming method, though. Anyway, this is dual nationality. Originally, players weren't allowed to have dual nationality. Yet there it was, clearly stated in the status window. Impossible in the same dimension, but possible across different dimensions. If that was the case, then there had to be a Black Tower on Earth No. 675 as well. He could check later whether it really existed. If it did, he could climb it. For now, he would rest without thinking too much. He had been through a lot in a short time. Juhyuk entered White Tower Floor 17. The fun little party began. A badge award ceremony was also held. Total accumulated badges, 144. Physical badges, 45. One went to Mackenzie. He had planned to give him 2. But because Cossack and Gandale said that obtaining a demonic dragon's dragon heart was not such a major merit, unlike obtaining a pure heart, he gave him only 1. Even so, Mackenzie was beaming. The 9-circle archmage couldn't hide his smile. And then Bardin. Let's stop this human holy sword nonsense, okay? People should live like people. Break through your rank and come back as a holy knight of Lursal. Only one summoned entity rank breakthrough rune remained. And since Bardin already had 5 badges pinned to his chest, Juhyuk slapped 20 more onto him at once. Even if you fail, just come back safely, understood? Yes, this humble one will immediately carry out my lord's solemn command, O light. I'm not telling you to go right now. Hang around a bit longer. No, my lord, time is gold, and so Bardeen bravely set off to climb alone. That left 24 badges. They had dropped fast. Well, he would just gather them steadily again. It would be nice if he got a random lucky box. Getting around 50 badges from that would be perfect. Suddenly, bzzz, his smartphone vibrated. It was Commissioner Jun Gwangil. He said there was something urgent to discuss. Perfect timing. Juhyuk had needed to meet him anyway. The meeting place was, as expected, White Tower Floor 17. Spot. Commissioner Jun appeared. Player Bong. Hello, Commissioner. I was worried when I couldn't reach you. You weren't around this morning either. I went somewhere for a bit. Another dimension. You wouldn't believe it. Maybe we could go together sometime when there was time. Oh, by the way, is the firefighting agent restock finished? Yes, we prepared even more than before. We also secured 5 additional fire engines. Thank you so much. It must have been a hassle. Not at all. It's related to the tower. With that, preparations for the second Phoenix raid were complete. And please take this. Oh, a ticket. The Japanese Prime Minister sent it as thanks for exporting the magic power suppression scroll. What the? A skill reset ticket. That's right. Wow. Good things just kept happening. With this, he could draw one more summoned being in the next random summon. Oh, thank you. Please convey my gratitude in return. To think he would get this kind of help from Japan. Saving the Prime Minister really had been the right call. By the way, what about China? Still no response? Don't they need magic power suppression scrolls? No contact. I suppose they're still managing. Well, they could do as they pleased. Now for the main business. You remember I mentioned having a strategy for the giant monster zone in the 80th floors, right? Yes, I remember. I think we can proceed with that. Oh, we've made a decent weapon. As for what it is, Juhyek explained in detail to Jun Gwangil about the magic gun and its specialized ammunition for dealing with giant monsters. Then, on your way out, meet Magitech engineer L and pick up the magic gun and the ammunition. Ah, understood. We should be able to clear up to the 85th floor without much trouble. Handling the magic gun will be difficult at first, but practice will take care of that. At first, the shots wouldn't land well, so the ammunition would sell extremely well. Honestly, he wasn't that greedy for money. Even if he did nothing, money kept flowing into his account. Take the anti-obesity bracelet, for instance. The mass production facilities at the Pyongyang factory were nearly complete. It would be finished within half a month. North Korea's economic development centered on Pyongyang. CEO Jung of Rajix Trading was making massive investments. Lastly, the magic sword crafting. Mackenzie, Mary, L, and Rajix had already created a separate group chat just for it. The trinity of magic, alchemy, and engineering. No, since Rajix had joined, was it a quaternity now? Juyuk had been invited too, but what would he even understand? Then, ding! Summoner, I'm thinking of using a Diamat's eye as an additional material when making the magic sword. Is that okay? It was an alchemy material reward from defeating a copy of Diamat when it had been the 80th floor boss in the past. If you need it, use it. Yes. Speaking of which, I really hope Diamat can break through its rank soon and regain its status as a nightmare lord. Kind-hearted Mary, always looking out for Diamat. That way we can use its eyeballs when making medicine and also when crafting weapons. Yeah, Diamat's rank breakthrough wasn't happening. The world of souls, a place so boring it was called the Infinite Prison. But these days, every day was filled with anticipation. The stories about summoning that the summoned entity Geppetto brought back were endlessly entertaining. But today's story was no joke. The White Tower elevator, a device that crossed dimensions, and it actually operated, going down to the first floor. Lies. Come on, you know it's true. I was just too shocked. Well, that's understandable. But the aftermath left a heavy feeling in the chest, a completely ruined dimension, an unfortunate player who took his own life, the summoner who inherited his legacy. Has anyone ever been to Earth number 675? Probably not. Not every world has a summoner. I think I heard an announcement that it had entered the destruction phase. The souls grew uneasy, even if it was an unrelated world. Hearing that it had been destroyed couldn't feel good. Then, brothers and sisters, shall I tell you a story that'll really clear things up? Go on. After that story, my chest feels all clogged up. Got any refreshing soda? Heh, of course. What is it? The summoner has acquired the title of Dragon Slayer. I see. Nice. Tell him congratulations for us. Wait, what? Huh? What? Dragon Slayer? That means he killed a dragon. What happened was, Geppetto went into a detailed explanation of what had happened outside the first floor of the White Tower. An unbelievable fact. While attempting meteor strikes across multiple dimensions, a passing dragon had coincidentally died. Insane, right? Awesome, right? The dragon came over and stuck its head in on its own. That fallen demonic dragon bastard died a good death. Mackenzie really pulled it off. As expected of a nine-circle mage, I envy him greatly. Mackenzie has completely secured his position now. He'll earn the summoner's deep trust. Of course, he killed a dragon. He might even have surpassed the Beastman Laborer. Mackenzie could be the top confidant, with the Laborer next. He'll be standing right beside the summoner, drawing the envy of all the other summoned beings. The summoner shouldn't rely too much on Mackenzie. What pointless worries. Just because he killed one dragon, earning the summoner's trust. Not a chance. In Geppetto's eyes, every mage was still lower tier. They couldn't compare to Alchemist Wanza or the Fairy Princess, let alone Mad Demon or Meat Shield, maybe slightly better than the perverted Paladin. But he didn't bother saying that to the souls. They would only understand once they experienced it themselves. The Tower Climbing Bureau under the Department of Homeland Security. Today again, Secretary Macmillan, Director Antonio, and Player Gerald were gathered in one place for a meeting. The agenda was the strategy for clearing the 81st floor, Behemoth. They simply couldn't find a solution. The floors in the 70s had been ridiculously easy. Even the 80th floor had been cleared without trouble using the Dream Resistance Kit. But in the giant monster zone on the 81st floor, the difficulty spiked sharply. Behemoth was simply too huge. Approach carelessly, and you got stepped on and died. Whew, even magic doesn't work. I tried using skills while moving, but couldn't deal any effective damage. And even though it's slow, its stride is so huge that escaping was difficult, not even with ultimates. It hesitated for a moment. I recorded it on my body cam, so you can review it if you want. But would reviewing it really help? Unless they could bring a pile of anti-tank missiles into the tower. At this point, we have no choice but to rely on the top player. That's right, only he had the answer. Whether through temporary naturalization or using a multinational tower access ticket. Honestly, even if they somehow cleared the 81st floor, what about the 82nd, the 83rd? And wasn't the 86th floor a phoenix? A phoenix? How were they supposed to kill a creature that only existed in legends? But the top player had already surpassed even that. It was player Bong Juhyuk who had cleared that very phoenix. At that moment, Bzzz, Director Antonio's smartphone rang. Excuse me, I'll take this call for a moment. Who is it? Your ex-wife? Come on, don't say such unlucky things. It's Commissioner Jun Gwangil. Mr. Jun? Perfect. Ask him when the anti-obesity bracelet will be mass-produced. Huh, at a time like this, when we're discussing how to clear the 81st floor, Antonio shot Secretary Macmillan a glare and answered the call. "Hello, Mr. Junn, long time no see." "Everything going well, Director?" "As always, but why the call? Is it about the anti-obesity bracelet mass production?" "Ah, that will be ready soon as well, but that's not why I called." Antonio focused on the call. Then, wait a moment. You found a strategy for the giant monster zone." Secretary Macmillan and Player Gerald, who were listening nearby, were also shocked. "A strategy? How?" Yes. We'll fly over and meet you right away." "Yes, Player Gerald will come too." Antonio's face flushed red with excitement. So did Secretary Macmillan. This was urgent, very urgent. A plane, please arrange one immediately." "Got it. I'll have one waiting at the airport right away." "You heard that, Gerald? Go home and pack." "Pack what? We can go as we are." That evening, a private jet carrying Director Antonio and Player Gerald took off from Washington Airport. 86th floor. The superheated cataclysmic flame Phoenix firefighting raid in Black Tower number 2. They had already done it once. They just had to do the same thing again. Alchemist Wansa pulled aggro. Fire engines took crane wing formation. Firefighting agents sprayed out. Then Mackenzie and Rajix flew overhead and dropped tanks of liquid nitrogen. SHHHHSHSHSHSHSHSHSHSH. Mad Demon unleashed Crescent Moon energy. SLAsh. SHRRRK. A shower of liquid nitrogen followed. Fulden Hemwood Ninsna. One feathers or ashes. Vinhunhud Aryend Nai. Nainuhan Hoisham Band Feidelan Blue. You have achieved clear grade S++ on Black Tower NO2, Korea, floor 86. Food and platinum badges have been granted. So no feathers or ashes. Well, the 86th floor wasn't the main event. It was just the opening act. Still, let's check the privilege first. With 2 more badges, the total reached 146. Vin trade 1,105 in Bintupit Fort platinum badges. A privilege will be granted. A privilege item for the first time in a while. When he took it out of the inventory, it was a cloak, transcendent concealment shroud. Effect, conceals appearance and presence. Duration, 10 minutes / cooldown, 10 minutes. Limitation, the user is revealed upon attacking. Feature, no one can perceive you, so it's an invisibility cloak. It felt pretty decent, and it wasn't tower only either. Plus, the option description was short and clear, straightforward, not vague. Still, they gave me some cowardly item. Were they telling him to sneak around like a weakling? He was already more than worthy of being called a real man. Rewards received. Now for the highlight. "Hello, Gigant. You've been well, right? I'm kidnapping you wholesale. If it works, that is. Rumble, swoosh." The automated Magnus Ego Gigant rose from underground. First, immobilization. "We'll begin." The unfailingly accurate alchemist Wansa raised the magic gun, a specially crafted weapon using magic power EMP rounds. Because it was a long-range EMP, L wouldn't be affected. Click, clack, thunk. The magic EMP round hit the gigant square in the torso. Flash, crack, pop, pop, pop. A powerful wave of light burst out. The Magnus Ego Gigant froze instantly. Let's begin the operation. Preload. This will be over quickly. First up was Meat Shield. Grah. With overwhelming strength, he shoved the immobilized Magnus Ego Gigant over. Boom! Swordmaster Cossack and Mad Demon climbed onto its chest. Slash, Shar RK. They cut through the armor plates with aura. Crack, Meat Shield tore them off by hand. 5 parallel-linked magic core engines were exposed. Next was L. After manipulating the engines and circuits to disable movement, Spot, Radix appeared. Sniff, sniff, with hot breath snorting out, he stood proudly before the fallen gigant. Radix stretched his short arms forward. Swoong! The entrance slowly opened. It was the first time Juhyuk had seen it, the opening of a subspace backpack. Normally, items didn't go in like this. Most things would simply slip in with a touch, but this was different. It was the largest item he had ever tried to store, so the entrance had to be opened to its maximum. Wah! With the entrance wide open, Radix slowly moved forward. Waddle, waddle. With each step, swoosh, swoosh, the gigant's head disappeared. He kept moving forward. Waddle, waddle, waddle. Swoo. Radix's face was full of concentration. Hang in there, Radix, god-tier dimensional porter. Where? Smoothly, like it's sliding in. Where? You can do it. Where? Lursal subspace, let's do this. Where? At last, swoosh. The head was completely inside. Now the shoulders were the key, the most critical part. If the shoulders went in, it was game over. But RRIP, RRIP, the shoulders got stuck at the entrance. Radix couldn't advance easily. Open it wider, spread it wider, force it in. The subspace backpack won't tear, right? Wah, R.I.P., S-H-A-K, R.R.I.P., S-H-A-K. It was going in, it was moving. Waddle, waddle, he kept advancing. He stretched the entrance of the subspace backpack with all his might and pushed forward again and again. In, get in, in. It's going in. In, 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 in. Just a little more, just a little. Wah, 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 in. The gigant's shoulders slipped inside. Swoosh, 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 swoosh. Radix reached forward and advanced. Each time, more of the gigant's massive body vanished. Eventually, the upper body, then even the lower body. Swoosh! Hooray! Hooray! Well done! Long live Radix, dimensional porter. Long live Juhyuk! The gigantic gigant vanished in an instant. Wah! Radix's roar echoed across the 85th floor, and then, ding! A message announced the successful clear. Success. The body of the Magnus Ego Gigant had been captured whole. Another peaceful day on White Tower Floor 17. The big boss had arrived. Literally a big boss. A gigantic Magnus Ego Gigant, its engine shut down, stood in the plaza. To think that enormous thing had been slurped right up, then whoosh, spit right back out. The terrifying capability of Radix the Dimensional Porter's subspace backpack. Who could have imagined this was even possible? What exactly was that guy anyway? From top-tier servant to cosmic porter and now dimensional porter, Radix just kept evolving. Anyway, thanks to his ability, they had brought the gigant back. A colossal robot that only grew more imposing the longer you looked at it. It's amazing. Preload. Not just Juhyuk, Cossack, Meatshield, Mad Demon, Mackenzie. Everyone gazed up at the gigant with satisfied expressions. For a man, it was impossible not to feel his heart race. Summoner Bong. What is it? I just got an idea. An idea? What if we put the Magnus Gigant on display outside so people can come see it? This thing? Of course, we'd charge admission and photo fees. It'd be awesome. Just standing there, it'd rake in money, wouldn't it? There it was again, the businessman mindset. Was money all that ever filled his head? He was a civil servant, for crying out loud. The minister of the People's Armed Forces, no less. Still, it wasn't a bad idea. Buy some land outside Seoul, plop it down with a bang, and it would become a tourist attraction. Anyway, Magitech engineer L was hard at work on the gigant's chest. They planned to change the Gigant's operating method, so she was modifying the magic circuits. The automatic ego Gigant was too stupid, and if it were converted to a piloted model, it might be fully affected by the magic sword. So instead, they were changing it to a command-based model. Move it by inputting commands, something between automatic and piloted. The downside was that commands had to be entered manually, but it could distinguish friend from foe, and its basic combat capability would remain unchanged. Still, despite all that, the Gigant had a fatal flaw. Its fuel efficiency was absolute trash. 1 ton of high-grade magic stones for 24 hours of operation. Only 15 hours if it entered combat mode. Did that make any sense? It only moved if you poured 1 ton of high-grade magic stones into the fuel intake on its back, and if it broke, repairs were nearly impossible. But was 1 ton of high-grade magic stones really a problem? And if it broke, so what? They could just bring back a new one. When will the modifications be finished? I want to test it already. The magic sword had not been crafted yet. Instead, they had secured a suitable steel H-beam, big enough for the Gigant to grab and swing. The test location, obviously the tower. The question was which tower? Weren't all towers the same, so why bother choosing? Juhyuk now had dual nationality, Earth number 1001 and Earth number 675. There should be a black tower on Earth number 675, I'm sure of it. The status window proved it. Black Tower, Earth number 675, Germany. Just going to check would be simple, and the elevator fee was free, wasn't it? Just then, L approached Juhyuk. Summoner, the modification is complete. Oh, faster than expected. Modifying the magic circuits wasn't difficult. We just had to change the command input method. Then we can do a test run? Yes, we can. Perfect. Let's take it along. Call Radix. Please put this back into the subspace backpack. Wah! Since it was standing upright, they first had it lie down. L issued a command to the Gigant. Would it really understand? Activation command. Input operating mode. Execute prone position. The next instant, G-dibble oog, boom, goog, K-A-B-oom. The massive Magnus Ego Gigant flattened itself against the ground. Oh, an exclamation escaped everyone. The Gigant followed L's commands precisely. It's smart. If you ask for its paw, will it give it? This guy, did he think the Gigant was a pet dog? Next came loading the Gigant into Radix's subspace backpack. TSHHT, RRAPE, TSHHHT. Having done it once already, it went in more easily than before. The entrance has stretched. If we put it in and take it out a few more times, it'll go in even more easily. Like clothes or shoes, the more you wear them, the more they stretched. Now everything was ready, and the test site was, let's go take the elevator. Yes? What? You mean the first floor of the White Tower? For what possible reason would we go there? Don't tell me. The summoned beings realized Juhek's intention. That's a bit, it seems dangerous. This girl is deeply concerned. I wonder whether you'll truly be all right. Everyone looked worried. I'll explain on the way. Just get on first. They boarded the elevator. Dimensional transfer. Arrival at the first floor of the White Tower. Since it was free, how nice. We should use it more often. Juhyuk explained to the summoned beings why he had come to the first floor of the White Tower. The changed status window. Dual nationality. If there really was a tower he could enter in a ruined world, then he should clear it, suck it dry. The naturally spawned top-grade magic stones in the ice wall mine on the 84th floor alone would be worth it. And while he was at it, he could take revenge for Max. Summoner, go ahead. Mad Demon still looked uneasy. Even if there is a tower on Earth number 675. To enter it, you must first exit the first floor of the White Tower. That's right. Direct entry from the White Tower to the Black Tower was blocked. He had to go outside first. However, Mackenzie's meteor summoning may have exposed your existence. He understood what that meant. The dragon had died very noisily. What if something even more terrifying than a dragon is waiting outside for you to emerge? A plausible concern. Especially the administrators. Do not underestimate them. Going out now would be dangerous. By administrators, he meant those of Earth number 675. They had surely become aware of Juyak's existence, and in a world where the boundary between the tower and reality had collapsed, there was no telling what they might do. If I leave the White Tower together with the summoned beings, it would be safe, but we can't do that. Why? The summoned beings didn't have status windows, so the White Tower entry and exit skills weren't registered for them. They could only leave if Juyak summoned them, outside or inside the Black Tower. Either way, the summoner leaving the White Tower alone, who knew what might be waiting? For the summoned beings, that was absolutely unacceptable. These were the same people who had made a fuss about not letting him enter the Black Tower alone. Can't you just not go out? With an energy barrier, Mackenzie's barrier shield, and even Gyandale's talismans, still dangerous. What if a dragon uses its breath? The dragon's dead. There could be another. Then I'd just run, enter the tower. What if you aren't given even that much time? Seriously, these people. Why were they trying so hard to scare him? To be honest, Juyak was a little scared too. What if he really went out and some dragon-like bastard was lying in ambush and pounced on him? There was no way to enter the tower without the administrators noticing. Wait, there was one method worth trying. Juyak opened his inventory. He took out an item and put it on. Spot! Juyak's body vanished. The summoned beings gasped and looked around in panic. Huh? What? Where? He's gone. He disappeared. Don't tell me. Outside the first floor of the White Tower, that dangerous place where who knew what might be waiting. Did he go out? It seems he did. He's really gone. He's definitely not here. Wah! Cossack collapsed to the ground, pounding the floor and shouting at the top of his lungs. Oh no, this is terrible. Our summoner Bong's gotten gutsy. He's become a real man. He was supposed to stay a wimp. What is this? Then he shot Mackenzie a sharp glare. This is all that old mage's fault. Summoning meteors and drawing attention for no reason, and now you've put our summoner Bong in danger. Mackenzie panicked. No, the summoner asked me to drop them. The accusations poured in. You should have refused. You're old enough. Don't you have any judgment? Hook, meteors aren't anything special. All you did was expose the summoner, the dragon heart. So what? You can't even eat it. This girl's heart is trembling. Nothing must happen to the young master. If something happens to the summoner, I will cut off your head. If the commander dies, we all die. I die, you die, everyone dies. At that moment, Spot, Juyak reappeared. I knew it. You all start fighting the moment I'm gone. This is why I can't leave my seat. What the? Oh, thank goodness. Huh? Did you come back in? Not exactly. I just activated concealment for a moment. Concealment? Then even this old man should have noticed. That's right, I'm the expert in stealth, aren't I? No matter how well you hide, I'm supposed to catch it all. Juyak showed them the cloak on his back. It's a privilege item I got. I tried using it. What do you think? Transcendent Concealment Shroud. Effect: conceals appearance and presence. Duration: 10 minutes / cooldown, 10 minutes. Limitation: the user is revealed upon attacking. Feature: no one can perceive you. The summoned being's eyes sparkled. Oh, a concealment shroud. It's a higher tier skill than stealth. With this, no one will notice you, not even dragons. No one can perceive you. The simple description makes it more trustworthy. It might even fool the eyes of the gods. A proper privilege has appeared for once. The 10-minute duration is a bit of a shame, though. This girl is deeply impressed. The heavens are surely protecting the young master. Juyek agreed. Even the summoned beings of Lursal couldn't perceive its concealment. So this is what it was meant for. Anyway, as long as he didn't attack, the concealment wouldn't break. So, I can go out and come back, right? It seems possible. I'm still uneasy, but please be careful. Absolutely do not attack. Move quietly. If anything feels off, retreat immediately. After waiting another 10 minutes, Juhyuk activated the transcendent concealment shroud. Spot. He stepped outside the first floor of the White Tower, and then Spademchin free. This is insane. The summoned being's concerns had clearly not been unfounded. Step, step. A Death Knight was walking right beside him. No, there wasn't just one. Monsters were everywhere. It was the ruined city that had already been thoroughly cleaned out by meteor summoning. Yet now, an even greater number and variety of monsters roamed the place. Thankfully, no one noticed Juhyuk, not even when they passed right by him. The concealment shroud worked perfectly. I should first check whether there's a black tower here, huh? There was no need. A towering black tower stood boldly right in front of him. What? When did that get built? It definitely hadn't been there before. Then, checking the progress of the German Black Tower. Ding. Berlin Black Tower, Germany. 79th floor, 80th floor. 179 days, 13 hours, 34 minutes, 52 seconds. Ah, was this the tower Max had been climbing? So I inherited the Black Tower too. He had climbed pretty high. Well, he had strengthened his traits 20 times. Let's go in. The path was open up to the 80th floor, but that might have a boss, so as a warm-up, he would start from the 79th floor. Juhyuk murmured quietly. Entering Berlin Black Tower, 79th floor. Spot. It was different, completely different from the 79th floor of Earth number 1001. In Juhyuk's world, the 79th floor was the imperial palace of the Baratheon Empire, Cossacks' theme floor, a time attack mission. But here, blackened land, a crimson sky, scorched, half-burned trees. What kind of place was this, and what was the mission? First, summoning. He deactivated the concealment shroud. Spot, 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 spot. The summoned beings appeared one after another. Ho, this place is this the Black Tower of a ruined world? Wow, what floor is it? Juhyuk answered. 79th floor. Very different, right? Indeed, completely different. It isn't a theme floor. Perhaps because there was no summoner player in this world. That's right, with no summoned beings either, no story theme floor would have formed. I'm curious what the mission is. But before that, Rajix. Wah? Deploy the Gigant. Wah? Rajix stretched out his hands, then Novleht stepped backward. Tsh-T, Tsh-H-H-H, clang, rop. The Gigant slowly emerged from subspace, along with the temporary weapon, a long steel H-beam. Yes, summoner. Let's begin. Understood. The command type Gigant. L issued an order to it. Activation command. Input operating mode. Execute standing posture. Creak. The Gigant rose to its feet. Activation command. Input operating mode. Equip weapon. Its huge hand gripped the steel H-beam. Let's go. Activation command. Input movement method. Advance forward. Boom, 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 boom. With wide strides, the Gigant advanced slowly. Juhyuk and the summoned beings followed at a distance. A moment later, ding, the mission appeared. Defeat 80 Hell Gatekeeper Cerberus. Within 14 hours, death or mission abandonment. Cerberuses? Suddenly, tess-HT, dogs burst out of the blackened ground. Each one was larger than an elephant, with 3 heads apiece, large class, but still below giant monster tier. Their attributes? Some breathed fire, some breathed cold. Some were undead Cerberuses, and some were even larger than the rest. Do we fight? No, don't do anything. Juhek looked at L. L nodded. Combat command. Input combat type. Annihilate all Cerberuses. WHIR. Clack. The gigant bent at the waist, like a sprinter at the starting line. Then, tud. It charged straight into the mass of Cerberuses, moving its house-sized legs. What followed was combat. No, calling it combat felt wrong. This is a massacre, total bullying. They're being trampled, spectacular. Bam, 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 bam. Cerberuses were kicked flying, crushed underfoot, split in half by the H-beam, or grabbed and burst apart in the gigant's hands. Incredible. It's reassuring that it's on our side. Very comforting. Anyone got popcorn? Wah. Oh, thank you, Supply Commander. Do you have cola too? Doesn't look like there's time to eat. Slaughter. Utter slaughter. Poor large-class Cerberuses. The gigant was a tyrant of the battlefield, ruthless, killing mechanically. Well, of course, it was a machine. In terms of compatibility and sheer scale, they had never stood a chance. The gigant was an 85th floor giant monster. These were only 79th floor Cerberuses. Rumch, rumch, rumch. Crunch, crunch, crunch. The clear was almost over. Had even 3 minutes passed, it was overwhelming. Exactly the kind of clear Juhyek wanted. I like this, 4 tower entries per day. Since they were already here, they might as well go up to the 82nd floor. With the level difference, it would be judged an S+++ clear. Badges could be earned starting from the 82nd floor. The administrators of Earth number 675, those managing the only black tower left in that world. Huh? Do you have any idea how... what happened? Do you have any idea how... what happened? What happened? What happened? Manages Monzampli. Mission just triggered in the system. Managin' why? Jet footage wrong? No, it isn't. There was only one black tower on Earth number 675, and only one player who could clear it. The summoner from Earth number 1001, who had obtained nationality. Then how would a summoner fight? Obviously, the summoned beings would fight in his place. But what unfolded in the hologram before them was beyond imagination. Why is a Magnus Gigant there? An 85th floor giant monster on the 79th floor, and it was attacking, no, slaughtering, the tower monsters, the Cerberuses who were practically their allies. Mandatanahatilbuistat, nananendelbleni. Now, Nipriserd one, Mond the Nanditgwand, Mondlmidiskrubum, Maumduan, Mendland the Nimon, Mendland, Mon, Mendand thing, Mondlmananan, Mend, Mon, Mendiandan, Mamduan, Windlma, Mend, Mendelmendand, Man, Mananandinanda, Mend, Mondamon. It's overs. Weren't impossible monsters to defeat, but 3 minutes. Just 3 minutes. That was all it took for 80 large-class Cerberus to be crushed. What was the summoner doing? Crunch, crunch. He was chewing popcorn. Managin' Mons. He was chewing popcorn. Managin' Mons. Manandu. What kind of clear was this? Managin 1 to Abonenzen 1 to produce something like that? No one could answer. The one and only black tower rising over Berlin. The administrators of Earth number 675's Black Tower had been on high alert as well. The summoner from Earth number 1001, that bastard would definitely show up to clear the Black Tower. They had to stop the clear at all costs. Assuming the summoner would be careless, they came up with a plan. He would have to exit the White Tower before entering the Black Tower. Since meteors had been summoned, he would assume Berlin was completely empty. So if they struck at that moment, they released monsters at the place where he would first appear, the very spot where the meteor had been summoned. They packed the area without leaving a single gap, so that the moment he appeared, they could attack immediately. If he carelessly came out alone and brushed past them, he'd die. No matter how powerful he was outside, so what? Before he could even shout his tower entry skill, stab, crack, and it would be over. But what happened? When had that summoner bastard come out and entered the tower? The 79th floor clear had been absurd too. A Magnus Gigant from the giant monster tier. Was that part of his summoning ability too? There was no way a gigant could be a summoned entity, a machine without a soul. How could it be? Did an error occur because the tower had only just been generated? Why was a monster meant for the 85th floor appearing on the 79th and slaughtering its own side at that? No matter how they thought about it, they couldn't understand. Is there a Magnus Gigant on the German Black Tower's 85th floor? Mitznan Pilabum? Replaced. Recently too. What? Replaced. Midi 5th floor Gigant had already been replaced once before by the will of the tower, from an automatic ego Gigant to a piloted typed Tithe. Tower monster replacement. Of course, that could happen. By the will of the tower, or when certain conditions were met. But something that had already been replaced? Again? That was rare. The most plausible guess, a piloted type needed a pilot. If so, something must have happened to that pilot at that very moment. One conspicuous presence among the summoner players' party. Wait, that golem over there looks familiar. Where have I seen it before? Huh? Hey, I told you not to say. Huh? No, that golem, it's Magitech engineer L. The administrators knew her. She had been the pilot of the 85th floor piloted Magnus Gigant, a recycled soul chosen to compensate for the gigant's stupid ego intelligence. She had originally been a summoned entity, but after losing her summoner and suffering severe soul damage beyond regeneration, she had been seated as the pilot. And now she was standing beside that summoner. Had she regained her summoned entity qualification? Surt, they understood. The departure of a tower soul. Liberation, defection, restoration of qualification, whatever the case. A system where, once the conditions were met, the souls of the Black Towers of all worlds, no, all parallel universes, could depart, whether the soul was an original or a copy. That meant Magitech engineer L's soul had regained summoned entity status, departed the tower, and been chosen by that summoner. Fine. Let's say L's soul departed. But then what about that gigant? Did L build it? She is a Magitech engineer. His something you can just whip up. Not a chance. The culmination of Magitech. Preuve Mokve, cum. There was no way a single engineer could pull that off. Even if it was built, how would they carry something like that around? You think that fits in a pocket. But it's right there. Yeah, that's what I'm asking. Why is it there? At that moment, huh? The forbidden word, huh, spilled out repeatedly from the Earth number 675 Black Tower administrators. This is insane. Good heavens, only now did they understand how that giant monster gigant had entered the 79th floor. A shabby-looking hamster beastman, a furry little laborer who usually rolled around near the summoner, digging at the ground whenever he got bored. That thing was retrieving the Magnus Gigant the very moment the clear ended. A subspace skill? Even so, How could it handle something that huge? Why da nice. How much time had the clear taken in total? Exit White Tower, floor 1. Look at the Black Tower, check its progress, enter the tower. Deactivate the concealment shroud and summon the summoned entities. Conversation with them. About 1 minute. Taking out the gigant. About 1 minute. Standing it up and equipping the H-beam. About 1 minute. Moving to the mission area. About 1 minute. Clearing the Cerberuses. About 3 minutes. And then, immediately after the clear, move ins charmig sondem sededets turend. Activation command, input operation mode, execute prone crawl. At the same time, SSSSSS. Ragix quickly began stuffing the gigant back into subspace. Since it wasn't a summoned entity, the gigant absolutely had to be taken with them. After doing it about 3 times, Ragix had grown skilled, and the entrance had widened too. Normally, when the mission completion message S+++ clear judgment and exit message appeared, the intervals between them were fairly long. That was why, back during the Rainbow Basilisk hide harvesting clear, even after the completion message appeared, they still skinned it, stored everything away, cheered, applauded, did all of that. The gigant steadily disappeared. It was going in very smoothly. It caught once for a moment in the middle, but hup, whoosh. Oh, it all went in. It's getting faster. Soon we'll be able to go zip, whoosh. Now it was time to exit. Was the concealment shroud's cooldown back up? Well, whether they used it or not, it didn't matter. What was there to fear outside? It was only scary when you went out alone. This time they were all going together. The S+++ clear judgment didn't pop up, probably because of the level difference. Spot, instantly, grr, kayak, koo, car, R-E-K. Monsters NOVLIGHT surged toward Juhyak's party like a tidal wave. Zing! The energy defense barrier activated. Foong! Mackenzie's barrier shield. Pet, 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 pet. Gendale's telemons fluttered. Whoosh! Meat Shield strode forward boldly, his body enlarged, and the massacre earthquake giant hammer slung over his shoulder grew massive with him. Whir! He raised the hammer high overhead and smashed it straight into the ground. Boom! All kinds of monsters shattered apart. Crack, 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 crack. The ground split open in front of him, an artificial earthquake created by the hammer. Rumbly! The earth collapsed, burying the monsters along with it. Using the massacre earthquake giant hammer Juhyak had given him for the first time, Meat Shield wore a deeply satisfied smile. How was it? It was a good weapon, right? There was no need to drag Barden into this anymore, right? Let's stop with the whole human holy sword thing. You couldn't exactly grab the Holy Knight of Lursel and swing him around. Elsewhere, Mackenzie unleashed wide-area flame magic. Cossack swept through the battlefield with his speed, and Veronica Caliber and the Mad Demon shot down every flying monster they saw. And Ragix? Roll, bounce, spin. He roamed freely across the battlefield, vacuuming up magic stones and skinning hides as he went. Reassuring. Alone, maybe, but together there was nothing to fear. Still, that was enough of a warm-up outside the tower. Time to stop, right? Spot. The administrators of Earth number 675's Black Tower could only watch. There was nothing they could do. The trash mobs they'd released were no match. They were just warm-up exercise equipment at this point. So how were they supposed to kill them? Of course, there was a way. The original free contract souls of overwhelming power from the 90th floors and above. They could do it. They would tear them to pieces. But for now, even that was impossible. Why? Because the tower had regenerated. So the original free contract souls that had been in the real world were forced back into the Black Tower and bound there again. inside a single tower. Phone. They might come again tomorrow. Who was guarding the 80th floor? Gremory. Gremory. Can Gremory handle them? But no one could answer. What did it mean that Magitech engineer L had joined them? It meant that bastard had climbed at least to the 85th floor of Earth number 1001's Black Tower. This was bad, extremely unsettling. At this rate, the road to the 85th floor was practically a highway. With someone hauling around a gigant, could they really not stop him? What? 2 tower entries in one day? What kind of insane bastard is that? Just how many floors was he planning to climb? The 80th floor had a boss. This one did too. The monster on the 80th floor in Juhyuk's world? It was the defector hero, the Nightmare Lord Diamat. Master, why are you staring at me? Just because. Diamat twisted her body and grinned foolishly. There, you're using your skill again. I didn't use anything. If that smile and those movements that enchant people aren't a skill, then what are they? That just happens instinctively, without me realizing it. Don't make excuses, you sly thing. Then what about Veronica Caliber? I didn't use a skill. Your whole existence is basically a skill, though. That I admit. They were bickering again. Anyway, Diamat, the 80th floor here, is also a free contract soul, right? Yes, ma'am. I'm not sure if it's an original, but it's probably a lord. What kind of bastard would it be? If it was similar to Diamat, would a defection contract be possible here too? In any case, it would be better not to bring out the gigant. That would just waste fuel. The 80th floor environment was ordinary. Kindly enough, a stone-paved road had been laid out, and if they followed it, it led to a small cabin. Ding! Defeat Monster Lord Gremory. Original. Within 15 hours. Just like Diamat, a Monster Lord. But it's an original. An original. Yes, an original. If it's an original, should we bring out the gigant? No. Rather than that, at that moment, creak, the cabin door opened, and someone stepped out. Oh, at last, it was a young woman. Was she Gremory? She looked very innocent. Not exactly beautiful so much as cute, warm, a textbook gentle face. Just looking at her made a smile rise naturally. You even felt fondness. You wanted to protect her. Because of that, Juhyuk understood the type of the 80th floor lords. So that's how it is. Not much physical power, but specialized in other areas. Lords equipped by default with mental attack skills like fascination or charm. Diamat had been the same. In fact, Juhyuk was nearly immune to charm-type mental attacks. Why? Just like a moment ago. How many times had Diamat subtly tried to use her skills to win Juhyuk's favor, only to get caught and scolded by the summoned entities? He didn't really blame her. Wasn't it a nightmare's instinct, skills that leaked out unconsciously toward the opposite sex? Thanks to that, he had experienced so many charm effects that he had built up resistance. Not perfect. His heart still wavered like a reed, but still. You're the one who's finally come to free me. Free you? Yes, free me from the tower. Gremory continued with a sorrowful smile. Sigh, I truly didn't want to become a tower monster. I was tricked into this by the administrators. Tsk, it was a flawed contract from the start. I foolishly signed without even reading the terms properly. As a result, I was bound to the tower for countless, endless years. Contracts really did need to be handled carefully. Please, free me, pitiful. Gremory's face was full of desperation. Tears welled up in her eyes. Well, he should help. If you thought about it, Gremory was a victim too, wasn't she? Helping her was only natural. How would I free you? Would you defect? Defect. Yes, come to me. Gremory hesitated for a moment. All right, I'll defect. Do I just go to you, player? She walked lightly toward Juhyuk. Please take my hand. Together we, but at that moment, cut the bullshit, you lying sack of crap. Huh? Diamat, who had been hiding behind Meat Shield, stepped forward. Gremory's eyes widened in shock. Diamat, why are you here? Am I not allowed to be? Diamat sneered. Summoner, don't believe him. He lies the moment he opens his mouth. Is that so? And actually, he's not even a woman, huh? He's a man. Hanging and all. That was unexpected. I knew it. Look at those trapezius muscles. Do those look like a woman's? True. A trickster demon. There's no reason to accept something like that as a defector. Indeed, compared to that thing, Diamat is a fairy. Gindale added, this girl shall reveal the true form of that demon with the immortal mirror. In an instant, flash, the bronze mirror emitted light. At the same time, Gremory's true form was revealed. There was no trace of that innocent face anymore. A jutting jaw, eyes split wide, a long tongue flicked out from thin red lips. It is false, a cunning demon rotten to the core. Yikes, disgusting. Gremory panicked. No, that's not true. I'm not lying. The player is being deceived by that nightmare bitch. I truly... But Gandale was merciless. It is false. Diamat, too. A lie. Veronica Caliber as well. Veronica Caliber, deception tactic. So that was it. Unfair. Please spare me. Please, please, I beg you, believe me. Well then, defect right now. Huh? If you defect, you become one of us. Your stats will drop a lot, though. Gremory's face lit up. I'll do it. Defection. I'll defect to the player. Defection. That's fine, right? But the system said nothing. With Diamat, it had been different. The original 80 theft floor boss Diamat has requested defection to the player based on the free will granted to her. That message had appeared, but for Gremory's request, nothing. There was no response at all. Gremory, please speak sincerely. Okay, I'll defect. I swear loyalty. Silence. One last time. Don't lie. Yes, yes, I, Gremory, sincerely swear loyalty to the player. I desire defection. Please accept me. Still silence. Amazing, truly amazing. All lies. Diamat snorted. You see, he lies as easily as he breathes. His whole existence is a lie. He's beyond saving. Gremory's face twisted. SHRRK. Wings burst from his back. His mouth split to his ears. Sharp fangs sprouted, and a crimson tongue shot out. Damn it, if that's how it is, I'll fight you fair and square. I'll kill all of you right here. Come on, bastards. TSHHT. Gremory shot up into the air. Wow, even the escape was a lie? Veronica Caliber? Veronica Caliber. Click. The magic gun was chambered. ZZZZZ. The barrel glowed white-hot, with a tremendous backblast. Boom! Gremory's fleeing body exploded in mid-air. P.S. Har you? The near light-speed gunshot came afterward. Defeated 1-1. I'll hand it over to Mari, the shut-in alchemist. Ding. Now, Foin, why give me the tongue? Gross. Director Antonio and the player Gerald left Washington Airport in the United States that evening and arrived around the next afternoon. They went straight to the Korean Awakening Administration and met Commissioner Chun Kwang-il. He couldn't suppress his curiosity. Just what was the strategy for clearing the giant monster zone? A weapon? Drugs? Magic scrolls, like dream resistance kits? But it turned out to be something no one had imagined. A gun? A gun? You mean the thing you pull the trigger on and fire? Well, a handgun could technically be brought in as a personal item. You're saying you'll clear Behemoth with a gun? Yes. What kind of nonsense was that? Earth-made guns were useless for dealing damage, good for nothing except pulling monsters from long range. and with explosive reactions based on Earth science prohibited inside the tower. Even ranged pulling had to be done with crossbows. It's not an Earth gun, it's a specially manufactured item gun. It uses a player's mana, so we named it a mana gun. The operating principle is, they listened to the explanation, but honestly, it didn't inspire much confidence. The barrel was so huge it looked like some kind of oversized toy rifle. How were they supposed to kill a massive behemoth with that? We've already conducted our own tests. You'll understand once NOV. LIGHT, you go in yourself. Right. Had trusting the Korean Awakening administration ever led to a loss before? Also, is this player Bong's creation? Of course. Then it was trustworthy. We plan to handle this the same way as the Holy Sword, through a loan system. To use the mana gun, you'll have to come to Korea in person. And the rental fee, it's free. Huh? Free? That was shocking. The previous commissioner had charged $10 million every single time just to rent the Holy Sword. Instead, you'll need to buy the ammunition. One round costs $1 million. John Kwang-il opened a large box and revealed the massive bullets inside. They're called delayed drill explosive rounds. You can't kill it without these. Ah, that made sense. There was no way it was really free. Can we do it right now? Go in and try it. How many rounds would you like? How many does it take to kill it? At least 10. If your aim is good and you hit the vital points, you might save 1 or 2. Do the bullets go into the inventory? They do. They aren't made with gunpowder. Gerald hesitated. How many rounds should he buy? What was so hard about firing a gun? Behemoth was so huge, you could probably hit it even if you fired carelessly. They had to clear 2 towers anyway. 10 rounds each. Give me 20 rounds. Yes, that will be $20 million. As for the wire transfer, now it was time to negotiate. Director Antonio spoke up. Commissioner, yes? We're old friends, aren't we? Personally, yes. Antonio frowned. As expected, it wouldn't be easy. Wasn't there supposed to be an early adopter benefit? Let's keep it simple. 10 million, how about it? John Kwang-il stared at him in disbelief. Come on, there's a limit to haggling. You're trying to cut it in half. That's how it was with the Holy Sword too, and our budget took a major hit buying mana-sealing scrolls. Can't you do me this favor at least? Gerald cut in. Director, you should know gratitude. This money goes to player Bong. Even paying double wouldn't be enough. Stay out of this. Fine. He would give them a discount. They were the first ones to come running after all. In truth, Antonio had expected this and had already spoken with player Bong about it. But should he really just give the discount outright? It was better to act magnanimous. Sigh, fine, half price. Player Bong told me to handle it this way. Oh, as expected of player Bong. But there's a condition. Name it. If it's something we can do, anything. Record the successful clear on a body cam and release it publicly. Add some suitable commentary too. Gerald answered immediately. No problem. I've done that before. I'll do my best and make it look good. Clack, clack, clack. Jun Kwang-il took 20 rounds out of the box and set them on top. Swish, swish. Gerald placed the bullets into his inventory. They really go in, because they aren't gunpowder-based. Then, good luck. I'll be back. Spot. Antonio and Jung Kwang-il were left in the office. After chatting about this and that, an hour passed in the blink of an eye. Antonio grew a little anxious. Would Gerald come back safely, even if he failed, as long as he came back alive? At that moment, Spot. Gasp, huff. Gerald appeared, looking exhausted. Gerald, are you okay? How did it go? I've got exactly 1 bullet left. The vibration made it hard to aim, so he really hadn't been able to overcome the recoil after all. A failure? But I succeeded. Tower 1 is cleared. The performance is insane. A bullet that explodes inside Behemoth's body. Oh, I think I'll need to buy about 20 more rounds to clear Tower 2. The sound of money draining away was deafening, but Antonio's face brightened. The giant monster zone that had completely blocked their progress had finally been breached. Juhyuk was also on the 81st floor, the 81st floor of Earth number 675. They waited, the clear they were looking forward to the most, the clash between the giant monster Behemoth and the giant golem Magnus Gigant. We have to film this. How could anyone resist? Even filmed casually, it would rival a blockbuster movie. I'll film it so it really feels real. We need a good shot. Cossack smirked. Who do you think I am? A master of dynamic camera work, immersive action framing. Is this CG or is it real? No retakes, suffocating immersion. Whatever I film becomes art. A commercial film legend, a 10 million view director. I'm Cossack. Indeed. Was there anything Cossack couldn't do? But there was competition. At best, that's just ground-level filming. Mackenzie challenged Cossack's throne. This is a clash between monsters so huge you have to crane your neck to look up at them. Without aerial shots, the intensity will inevitably fall short. But this mage, whoosh! Mackenzie rose into the air with flight magic, then looked at Juhyuk. Aerial filming is possible. Ground shots, aerial shots, close range, long range, switching freely between them. This is the age of drone filming, and am I not a fully prepared cinematographer? Oh, tempting. That was true. Ground-only filming had its limits. Mage Mackenzie, please handle it. Haha, don't worry. I'll get you an amazing video. Mackenzie beamed. Cossack, on the other hand, looked crestfallen. It couldn't be helped. If you were going to film, then you had to do it right. Did they know how much it cost just to activate the Gigant? Whoosh! The Gigant emerged from Rajix's subspace backpack. Ding! The mission had been accepted. Thea D, Thea D, Thea D. With its massive body, the Gigant lumbered toward Behemoth. Whoosh! Holding the latest smartphone, Mackenzie followed the Gigant and began filming. Grr! Behemoth noticed the Gigant. It bared its grotesque teeth. Come! Whoosh! Thea D! Thea D! With a monstrous roar, it charged. Combat command, combat type input, exterminate Behemoth. And then, the animal-type giant monster and the mechanical giant monster collided. Like a bear, Behemoth swung its forelimbs and slammed them into the Gigant's abdomen. BM. The Gigant staggered for a moment, then grabbed Behemoth's head with both hands and drove its knees straight into it. Bam, 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 bam. Greerk! Behemoth wasn't weak enough to go down that easily. It opened its huge mouth, bit down on the Gigant's left arm, and shook its head wildly. Gar-RK! Gar-RK! Gar-RKK! So what? The Gigant's whole body was metal. Only Behemoth's teeth would suffer. And the Gigant wasn't limited to physical attacks. Its eyes glowed red. Bized's T. A crimson beam of destruction struck Behemoth in the face. Gwah! Behemoth writhed in pain, its eyes injured by the beam. Combat command, combat type input, charge. Creating distance, the Gigant charged at the half-blinded Behemoth. Screech! Crash! Rolling across the ground, the Gigant and Behemoth became a tangled mass. Combat command, combat type input, pounding stance. After a fierce struggle, the Gigant mounted Behemoth. Combat command, combat type input, pounding punch. Raising its right arm high, the Gigant smashed Behemoth's face. Bam! Once more. Bam! Again. Bam, 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 bam. Whoa, Freewensib, Xup, damn, that's insane. Incredible. Admiration came out naturally. Magnus Gigant, moving according to L's commands. With exquisite movements, it completely dominated the exchange, pounding Behemoth into a bloody wreck. Our Gigant is stronger. What's the floor difference? That thing's on the 81st floor. Our Gigant is from the 85th. That's right. Unless it's an ultra-giant Titan Behemoth, a regular Behemoth is nothing. That jogged a memory. The ultra-giant Titan Behemoth, the one that had appeared in Hell mode because of the administrator's trickery. It had been over 10 times larger than a normal behemoth, like a mountain in its own right. A normal clear had been impossible. Even the Gigant wouldn't have been enough. They had barely managed to kill it by bringing in a nuke from outside. Hold on, a nuke? Juhyuk looked at Rajix and spoke. Mr. Rajix, wha? You remember what I left with you before, right? The handgun and the ammo. Wah! The handgun and magazine he had once received from John Gwangil for self-defense. Thinking he probably would never need them, he had left them with Rajix. Give them to me. Swish. Rajix pulled out the handgun and handed it to Juhyuk. The magazine was still loaded, bullets fired by the power of gunpowder. Click. He pulled the slide back, chambered around, and aimed at the sky. Click, bang, it fires. The gunpowder detonated. An explosive reaction based on Earth science, strictly restricted back on their Earth. Smoke rose from the muzzle, along with the sharp, acrid smell of gunpowder. Then nukes too? The Black Tower of Earth number 675. That meant it was possible here. Yes, he had gained a hidden card, and this was probably something he would only be able to use once. If the administrators here realized nuclear explosions were possible, they would patch it out immediately. Still, I should get one use out of it, right? Anyway, the battle was coming to an end. Pinned beneath the Gigant, Behemoth couldn't escape the barrage of pounding blows, and finally, quickly stashed the Gigant away. SSS. It went in smoothly and naturally. All right, next floor. Floor 82 didn't really require the Gigant. It was a cave environment, and the Gigant couldn't be used there anyway. So what if there was no Gigant? The summoned entities could just smash heads themselves, and so the conquest of Apophis on the 82nd floor. On top of that, because they had entered with a 5-level difference, you have achieved clear grade S+ on Black Tower, Germany. Floor 82 platinum badges have been granted. Sadly, the world had already been destroyed, so there was no one left to hear the announcement. With daily tower entries increased to 5, they pushed through to the 83rd floor. The giant queen spider Ericroid, surrounded by countless spiderlings, their 9-circle grand archmage of fire, Mage Mackenzie, flare storm, fire rain, hellfire, melted everything away. You have achieved clear grade S+ on Black Tower, Germany, floor 83-3. Wibleftley. Easy. That made 4 badges, total badges 150. Physical badges, 30. Wow, the badges were pouring in. They even came with perks. Installing that elevator really had been the right call. Before heading home, they checked the progress of the German Black Tower. Ding! Fu of Deber, Dorm, Ding Bisajarm Skinium, Putadadintu Hortus Fantadan, Damanam, Damo of Deber, Blam Bidudanamenam. Plenty of time, no need to come back for a while. It was tragic. The one and only Black Tower in the world was being ravaged by a player from another world, 5 times a day no less. And with S++ clear grades, their self-esteem plummeted. They couldn't even mutter a word anymore. Have you gotten in touch with those bastards managing Earth number 1001? Was a demind. What did they say? Bitoms. Wom, dento de newisid. All he could do was laugh. If they were going to do it, they should have done it properly. A hell mode equivalent exchange contract. A contract that drastically increased the tower's difficulty by mutual agreement between player and administrator. They did that, and still ended up like this? Night into livinti, night mo leave, night light. Fuel was solve. Then I'd understand it ourself. Might. Then let's try it ourself. Why'd bother? Neo Risam not to. He'll accept it too, now that he's had a taste's floor ultra calamity immortal phoenix. I agree, the phoenix is impregnable. This is about pride. Before facing the phoenix, I'll kill him on the 85th floor, along with the gigant they're so proud of. He would tear it to pieces. Juhyuk returned with his party to White Tower floor 17. The first thing he did was take out the gigant and set it outside. It had fought well, but it hurt to look at. He hadn't noticed it on the 81st floor, but now that it was outside, damaged areas were visible everywhere. Starting tomorrow, he would have to bring back several gigants through repeated 85 thief floor clears. One wasn't enough. He needed spares, extras. A surprise patch would be disastrous. They couldn't risk the tower monsters being changed. Before that happened, he had to haul them in. There was plenty of space to store them, so it was better to stock up. At that moment, Spot, Player Bong, it was Commissioner Jun Gwangil. Welcome, Commissioner. The mana gun rental concluded successfully. Player Gerald purchased 20 delayed drill explosive rounds. Huh? He froze mid-sentence, his eyes wide. His finger trembled as he pointed at the gigant. That gigant, the 85th floor. Is that correct? And then, Spot. Player Bong, mass production of the obesity escape bracelet at the Pyongyang facility has been completed. The CEO of Rajix Trading arrived as well. Eek, a T-Tower monster. Juhyuk grinned and reassured them. It's fine, he's on our side. On their side, our gigant cleared Behemoth too. Oh, right, he hadn't checked the video yet. Mage Mackenzie. Yes, Summoner. You recorded the footage from the 81st floor, right? Let's watch it together. Understood. Mackenzie connected his smartphone to a large monitor. A vivid, crystal-clear 4K video filled the screen. The clash between Behemoth and the gigant. He had filmed it well, from the air, from the ground, from afar, up close, with sweeping wide shots. It rivaled a Hollywood action movie. From now on, filming belonged to Mage Mackenzie. John Gwangil and the CEO were speechless. They could only stare at the screen. Well, of course. Where else would you ever see something like that? Pretty cool, right? Our gigant. And that was just the warm-up. The final goal was dragon slaying. Once it wielded a magic sword, it would even kill dragons. So there's something I'd like to ask you too. What is it? I want a sword forged. A bastard sword, at least 60 meters long. Did he hear that wrong? Not 60 centimeters. 60 meters? Yes. Use tower metal. Adamantine would be perfect. Was that even possible? A super giant sword, 60 meters long. It's fine if it's made in sections and welded together. John Gwangil understood why Player Bong wanted such a colossal sword. It was probably meant for that gigant. Welding is possible, but wouldn't that weaken its durability? It's fine. We'll reinforce it anyway. With alchemy, magitech mana circuits, and enchantment magic. Don't worry about the money. Still, it was enormous. Seeing John Gwangil hesitate, Juhan added, I saw on YouTube that Pakistani guys can even make car parts out of scrap metal from decommissioned ships. Should we outsource it to Pakistan? Absolutely not. Was Korea's steel technology inferior to Pakistan's? John Gwangil stiffened and nodded. We'll make it. It was player Bong's request. Failure was not an option. A mere 60-meter sword, what was that? Even if it meant mobilizing all the know-how of Korea's steel industry and every skilled technician they had, they would succeed no matter what. 2 days after Gerald cleared the 81st floor, news reports exploded across the world. Nobushint, our American player, Gerald successfully clears Behemoth on the 81st floor of the American Black Tower. Nobushintam, Nobushintam, Nobushintam Nunund, Nunanam Praminund. Nundis, Nund, Managun. Clear video released on YouTube. Nunund, Nunut, Getend. A gun? Is that even possible? Gunpowder reactions are still blocked inside the tower. Nobush, Nund, Nunuters, Nund, Nunton, Nundum Prombi, Numb, Nunda, Manatun powder. Num power of special mana gun ammunition that blows Behemoth apart from the inside. Nund, Nundumba, Nunund, Nunba, Nunpum Pumdut, Managundis. Ammunition must be purchased due to production costs. At last, the method for clearing the giant monster zone had been revealed to the entire world, not just through news articles, but through actual clear footage uploaded to YouTube. The video showed player Gerald clearing the floor while giving commentary, like a streamer. It wasn't footage from his first clear of Tower Number 1. That run had been too rough. Instead, it was footage from his second clear, America's Tower Number 2. That's Behemoth. I'm going to take it down now. This is the mana gun, and this sharp thing here is the delayed drill round. Pretty big bullet, right? Gnome, click, gnome. Gerald loaded the mana gun. Nundadum, nundadumt, nund, nunum plek, gnome. All right, here we go. He took aim. Don't curse me if I miss. The vibration when injecting mana is no joke. Bang. Jesus, missed. Again, bang, another miss, 2 shots wasted, grrr. Behemoth charged Gerald ferociously, thud, 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 nund. It's locked onto me. I've got to land this one, bang, thunk, oh, hit. Since it's a drill round, as long as it hits, it pierces Behemoth's hide easily. Nonun, spot. Using Blink, Gerald, who had the spell's word trait, opened up the distance. Nunun, nunund, nunun new, nunun new, nunun new, nunun new, nunun new, nunun, 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 nund, nunun, no, nunun new, nun, mir, minun, mamu, minun, utumb. Mart, nom, uadam, nanan, mamiwadam, nanam, mina, minum, manmur, manmuamp, minada, nona, nanuna, mina, minanu, mana, maben, mir, na, mir, mana, manua, mada, mir. Novelict, wait about 5 seconds. Boom! Part of Behemoth's body exploded. No, see, delayed explosion. It's like a bunker buster. It doesn't explode on the surface. It drills in and detonates inside. But one shot wasn't enough. Nonundu, tud, 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 tud. Behemoth charged again in fury. Manda tidpum, in nundan that become, nundan tamdon nunam, nunda, nunantandu. Nundanamda, nunamnamdinyo. It's also good to practice outside beforehand, especially controlling the vibration when injecting mana. Nunund, nunum nunund, nunda, 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 nunumdum, nundum krund, nund, nununum de nund, nunda, manduntum da newtund, kumd, nunda, nundum de nunda newtund, nuna. It was fast, fast enough to catch him if he slipped up. Now you see why I keep talking about mobility. Escaping is more important than shooting. Pate, run, gain distance, then bang, run the other way, bang, boom, some shots hit, whoosh, some missed. After playing a deadly game of hide-and-seek across the entire 81st floor, grah, thud, Behemoth collapsed. Clear achieved after 50 minutes. Done. Gerald's ragged breathing filled the mic. It's not that hard, but remember this, mobility and accuracy. As long as you have those two, the mana gun and delayed drill rounds will do the rest. Before exiting, he added one last thing. You'll need about 10 hits, but as you can see, it's really hard, so buy plenty of ammo. Even 20 rounds might not be enough. And one more warning. If it feels impossible, quit immediately. You can always try again. Nothing's more important than your life. With that, Gerald's video ended. The reaction was explosive. The world became a little safer. A path had opened to break through the 81 Stiflor range and push the tower collapse deadlines back even farther. Governments and state-sponsored players around the world began preparing their strategies based on Gerald's footage. And as for the mobility he emphasized, items with movement speed options skyrocketed in price. Players with mobility-related traits rose in value as well. Reservations for mana guns flooded the Korean Awakening administration. Even if clearing wasn't immediately possible, players needed to personally experience the vibration and recoil during firing. Joo-hyuk also watched the video on White Tower Floor 17. It was good that the mana gun worked, but the ammo consumption per kill was too high. Even for a bullet business, this was excessive. Isn't there a way to help players overcome the vibration? Modifying the mana gun isn't possible, right? The Magitech engineer, replied, "It's an inherent limitation of the mana gun. For now, that's the best it can do." So it couldn't be helped. Even the ultimate mana gun owned by Master BI has tremendous vibration and recoil. You can tell just by how his body sways every time he fires. That was true. Even so, he shot it well. Then again, Master BI was a true mana gunner by class. Meanwhile, Cossack looked pleased. He grinned at Joo-hyuk. Player Gerald did great, worth saving him. He even told people to buy plenty of ammo. Business will be booming, probably more profitable than the Holy Sword. Was this guy possessed by the money devil? And while watching the video, I got an idea. What kind of idea? Mobility. Why don't we solve that for them? How? We sell potions or elixirs that enhance movement speed, bundled with the ammo. What else was he trying to sell now? He really was possessed. Summoner Bong, you should ask Mary directly. If I say it, I'll just get cursed at. Honestly, it wasn't a bad idea. Not just for profit, but for safer clears. All right, I'll ask her. Yes, sir. Cossack couldn't stop smiling. You really like money that much? There's a lot to spend on. Just making the magic sword base alone costs a fortune. Where do you think that money comes from? True enough, a 60-meter adamantine giant sword. Even ignoring the materials, the labor costs alone would be absurd. But could it really be made? They would make it. They had to. There was plenty of time. Until it was finished, they just wouldn't climb any higher. Anyway, oh, Cossack. Yes? Can you go to North Korea and meet Chairman Kim In-jung? I'll take you to the Pyongyang Black Tower. Sure. What do you need? Just ask for a few nuclear warheads, modified so they can detonate with a button press, like before. That's easy enough, but where do you plan to use them? Well, in Earth number 675's Black Tower, maybe if a dragon shows up. But Cossack shook his head. Won't work on dragons. They're smart. They'll block it from the start. Probably true. If they recognized it as a nuke and clung to it, there'd be no answer. Well then, let's just detonate it anywhere. At least it'll scare them. After entering the Black Tower and using the Ring of Tower exit to send Cossack to the factory in Pyongyang, Joo-hyuk went to see Mary. He knocked on the door of her house. Knock, knock, Mary, scurry. He heard her behind the door. Ding. She answered through the tablet messenger app. Yes. He opened the door halfway and slipped something through the gap, the tongue of Gremory, obtained on the 80th floor of Earth number 675. It's the tongue of Gremory, Lord of Monsters. Use it if it's useful as a material. Oh my, this is wonderful. The completion rate of the magic sword will go up even more. You're the best, summoner. Sure. Oh, right. I wanted to ask something. Anything at all. Is there some kind of medicine that can boost a player's mobility? There is. A supreme elixir of agility and a potion of instant speed burst. Can you make them? We want to distribute them to players renting mana guns. Mauniandans. Murray, can it? I'll make them. Thanks as always, and if you ever want anything, just let me know. In that case, yes. You said you commissioned the former commissioner to make the magic sword base, right? Yeah, I did. The production team decided to change the materials. What to? Instead of adamantine, we'll use gigant body metal. And during casting, high-grade magic stones will need to be melted in as well. That's fine. Gigant metal dismantling 2 of them would be enough. How many high-grade magic stones? At least 200 tons of high-grade magic stones, and during the enchantment process you'll also need about 30 kilograms of top-grade magic stones. This was insane. 200 tons of high-grade magic stones and 30 kilograms of top-grade ones? Trying to make a magic sword would bankrupt the household. Should he never have said he'd do it? But he couldn't show weakness now. Don't worry about anything, Mary. Just focus on your research. I'll take care of everything. Okay. Damn it. Looks like he'd have to mine even harder. If he wanted to supply the materials for the magic sword base, that was unavoidable. He had to climb the tower diligently. Thank goodness for the 5 daily tower entries. Was that achievement reward given for this exact reason? Oh, right. He should also check the privileges. He had accumulated 150 platinum badges. Murray, 50 platinum badges. A privilege will be granted pound. Miss, nice pull. He already had more than 10 from inheriting Max Kruger's legacy, but the more the better. Cossack first stopped by the Mana Sealing Scroll printing factory in Pyongyang and the automated obesity escape bracelet factory. The bracelets were now in pilot production. If you placed a pre-made casing into the Magitech auto-engraving device L had created, the patterns were engraved automatically and finished bracelets popped out one by one. Those bracelets were then fed into an inspection device to check for defects, and once they passed, they moved on to packaging. It required a lot of labor. No, more accurately, they employed a lot of people, even where the labor wasn't strictly necessary. The demand was enormous. They also had to be replaced every 3 months. The obesity escape bracelet alone could support the entire North Korean economy. Once economic stability improved, reunification could proceed gradually. After finishing the inspection tour, Cossack headed to the presidential palace in Pyongyang. Welcome, Comrade Cossack. Chairman Kim In-jung, have you been well? No issues at all. Under the guidance of the great supreme player Comrade, our people are living full and satisfied lives. Good. Anyway, Cossack explained his purpose to Chairman Kim In-jung. You mean nuclear warheads? That's right. With detonation devices installed, like before. How many? As many as possible. Scrape up everything you've got. Oh. Chairman Kim In-jung hesitated briefly. Well, it's not difficult, but is this an order from higher up? You think I'd decide something like this on my own? It's his command. Then may I ask just one more thing? Go ahead. Where will the nukes be used? Cossack widened his eyes and said, to show nuclear hellfire to the counter-revolutionary scum, the Black Tower's imperialist invaders, those tower monster jackals. Understanding immediately, Chairman Kim In-jung nodded firmly. Understood. I'll prepare them at once. Good. That's reassuring. Just give the word any time to mercilessly punish the Republic's mortal enemies, the tower monsters. Long live Juhyuk. Long live Juhyuk, the two shouted together, facing each other. But will nukes even detonate inside the tower? I recall a world announcement saying nuclear fission was prohibited. There's always a way, don't worry. After all, was there only one black tower in the universe? The conquest of Earth number 1001's Black Tower resumed. No, calling it Earth number 1001 didn't feel right anymore. What numbers? This was simply their Earth. Juyuk repeatedly cleared the 84th and 85th floors. On the 84th floor, he mined high-grade and top-grade magic stones. Clang, 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 clang. HNNGH. On the 85th floor, he hauled back gigants. Ha! Their dimensional farmhand worked tirelessly. Radix. Even with 5 tower entries per day, it wasn't possible to haul back 5 gigants. Radix's subspace backpack was vast, but it could only transport 1 gigant at a time. If 1 gigant was already inside, trying to add another simply wouldn't work. They had to dismiss Radix, set the gigant down in the White Tower, wait 3 hours, then go back in to haul another. So at most, they could bring back 2 per day, 3 if they pushed it. But even that was more than enough. The 85th floor, where gigants duplicated endlessly, they hauled them back non-stop. Even so, something felt strange. What were the administrators doing? Were they really just going to let this happen? They had reacted instantly when a nuke detonated before. Are they really just letting us take them? About a week later, Juhyuk and his party entered the 85th floor again to haul out another gigant. They fired a mana EMP round. Zez, the gigant froze. Zing! Swordmaster Cossack and the Berserk Mage manifested their power and sliced through the armor plates, while L manipulated the gigant's mana circuits. L tilted his head. What is it? I've found a circuit diagram I've never seen before in the gigant's central processor. What? Upon inspection, it appears to be a self-destruct circuit. Self-destruct? Please give me a moment. L carefully traced the mana circuit with his fingers and examined it intently. Then, it's definitely a self-destruct circuit. It's designed to explode automatically 1 hour after combat begins. So the administrators had intervened. If they had hauled it out without realizing that, it would have been disastrous. Those sneaky bastards. A stealth patch without any announcement? Can't we just remove the self-destruct circuit? Like cutting the blue wire or the red wire, that movie cliché. No. Attempting to remove it would trigger an immediate explosion. If we had more time, maybe. But right now, damn, what a waste. Still, there was a silver lining. When other players tried to clear gigants, there had been an unresolved issue with using mana gun rentals to clear the 85th floor. They could immobilize a gigant for 5 minutes, but what came after that? Once the 5 minutes ended, it reactivated. You had to clear it during the immobilization period. But did any players have the ability to cut through the gigant's armor plates? Armor that even Cossack and the Berserk Mage had to work together to slice through. Then if we just wait 1 hour, does the mission auto-complete? That I'm not entirely sure. Let's test it. When the gigant started moving again after the EMP wore off, they fired another EMP round. If it moved again, another. 5 minutes per EMP. 12 rounds would keep it immobilized for 1 hour. After 1 hour passed, Wahez 1 hour passed, Wahez 1 hour appeared, we'll sudden now. At least it gave them a warning before the explosion. Juhyuk and the party retreated to a safe area. When the countdown ended, boom, rumbly, the gigant collapsed from the inside out, like a building being demolished in a controlled blast. Bilil, burides nindam witmond. Bilil bis nindil, clear successful. Immediately, clatter, clang, whir, hup, Ragix vacuumed up the scattered gigant metal fragments like a vacuum cleaner. Even without telling him, he knows exactly what to do. Their thrifty farmhand. That scrap metal could be given to Mari for magic sword production. All in all, things had worked out. It was actually easier now. Just use EMP rounds and survive for 1 hour. But hauling giants out was over. Still, the gains were substantial. When Juhyuk and the summoned entities returned to the White Tower, how many did we bring back? Whoa! 16 Magnus Gigants stood lined up in the White Tower Plaza. Beautiful, just beautiful. And the storage corridors were filled with high-grade and top-grade magic stones. But there was bad news too. The 84th ore vein in Tower Number 1 had already been depleted, partly because Rajik's mining efficiency was absurdly high. We cleaned out the pantry. Only the 84th El de Flor vein in Tower Number 2 remained now. That was worrying. What if that got depleted too? In the end, they would have to open the 84th floor of Earth Number 675's Black Tower. High-grade and top-grade magic stones were needed in far too many places. I'll go in tomorrow, I guess. Just open the path, pick up some badges while he was at it. That was when it happened. Fob, fwash! The landmark at the top shone like a lighthouse. That light meant, he's here. It was Bardin. The Holy Knight had arrived, having successfully completed his rank breakthrough.